Hello, 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 and welcome today to your Mindful Monday session with me, Vitality Coach Henri Saha. Hopefully, you can hear and see me okay. If you wouldn't mind just saying hello or just saying yes in the comments box, I would really appreciate it. If you can just let me know if you can hear and see me okay, I would be incredibly grateful. Welcome today to your session. As I mentioned, my name is Henri. I'm one of the Vitality coaches and a specialist in mental health and well-being. And absolutely, we look at doing mindfulness sessions. Beautiful. Everyone is able to see me and hear me. Wonderful, wonderful. So hello to Haley, hello Manish, hello Johnny, hello Arnold, hello Paul. Lovely to have you here all today. Today we're going to focus on something called flow. And if you're familiar with our mindfulness sessions, then you might have noticed we did a session on flow not too long ago, but it is such a wonderful topic. It's such a wonderful thing to focus on. We're going to do it again. So we didn't do it via YouTube. That was on prior to arriving on YouTube. So now we're on YouTube. We're going to go for it again. So we always start our mindfulness sessions by defining what is mindfulness. It's really important for me that every time we do one of these sessions, we start with a clean slate. We start with an open, a fresh page. And the way that I do that, the way that I reset things is by defining mindfulness so that we're all coming from the same point of view and all starting at the same point. So mindfulness means maintaining a moment by moment awareness of our thoughts, our feelings, our bodily sensations, and our surrounding environment through a gentle and nurturing lens. Mindfulness also involves acceptance, meaning that we pay attention to our thoughts and feelings without judging them, without believing, for instance, that there's a right or a wrong way to think or feel in a given moment. When we practice mindfulness, our thoughts tune into what we're sensing in the present moment rather than rehashing the past or imagining the future. So we really focus in on what is happening in our current environment, what is happening in our current feeling. We try not to, as much as possible, focus on things from the past or focus on things from the future. So go ahead and get yourself comfortable. I have a chair with a back here, and I sometimes lean back, I sometimes lean forward. Again, really what's important is that you listen to your body and get in a comfortable position for your body. You might be lying on the floor, you might be sitting on the floor. This is really designed for everybody. So, as long as you're comfortable and able to stay in that position for the next 25 minutes or so, then all is acceptable from my perspective. So when you've got yourself comfortable, join me in just closing your eyes. And what we'll do is we'll take a few deep breaths together to start our practice. So breathe in. And breathe out. Inhale deeply. And exhale completely. Breathe in and breathe out. Inhale and exhale. Inhale deeply and exhale completely. And just keep your attention on your breathing. Keep breathing slightly slower than your normal breath, slightly deeper. Try, if you can, to really breathe deeply into your abdomen. We call this diaphragmatic breathing. And you'll know this if your belly is expanding and contracting. You'll know this if your shoulders remain still as you breathe in and out. The breath is always a lovely place to start our practice. It's where we always start. It is consistent. It is constant. And at any time in your life, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're ever feeling stressed or anxious, you can always bring your attention to the breath. As we have done today, just 5 breaths. You can just bring your attention to this present moment. And away from any causes of stress or anxiety in your environment. Keep your attention on your breath, or indeed on my voice, as we journey through the next 20 minutes or so. You may find your attention wander. You may find thoughts appear, feelings appear, sounds. I can hear, for example, bird song outside my window. And just allow those sensations, those thoughts, those feelings to arise. Notice where your attention is drawn. And if you can, just do your best to bring your attention back to your breath or to my voice whenever you can. The focus of today's session is flow. And there are a couple of lovely ways that I like to discuss and talk about flow. One is from a psychological perspective. Flow is a term that is used regularly when describing performance. And the other is more naturalistic, more scientific maybe, more observable. So we're going to take two different roads today. That are slightly different, but also kind of related as well. So you know the psychological experience of flow. You've experienced flow throughout your life. We experience it every day, in fact. And it can sometimes feel so ordinary, so meaningless, that we completely overlook the experience altogether. And yet, it seems to be an experience that many people try to recreate or want to experience more. And so I'll share just a little definition. And flow was first coined, the term flow, by a psychologist who has my favorite name, which is Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. And you need a master's in psychology just to pronounce his name. It's a lovely name, but it's also a lovely observation that he made when he started to bring our attention to this state of flow. And he defines flow as a state of mind in which a person becomes fully immersed in an activity. The ego falls away. Time flies. Every action, movement, and thought follows inevitably from the previous one. Like playing jazz, our whole being is involved, and you're using your skills to the utmost. I know that you listening can relate to this experience. When you're so immersed in an activity that time disappears. And it's this experience, and in fact, the way that he says the ego falls away. This is the experience of peace. This is the experience of perhaps the purest form of well-being, in inverted commas, of course. When we are in flow, the ego falls away. And the ego is the entity that judges. The ego is the entity that thinks and feels and plans and strategizes. The entity that creates separation where there is none. Now, there are lots of places and lots of times when you might experience flow. Perhaps playing sport, cooking, reading, cleaning, everyday activities. Mundane activities. Driving, working. But then, after this experience, the ego arrives again, our thinking mind, our monkey mind, and takes over our experience once again. Directs our behavior, our feelings, our attention. So I encourage you to notice. Notice those moments. Reflect on those moments. Appreciate those moments of flow. They appear way more than we believe, and they can appear even more than that too. The other perspective I wanted to share on flow comes from nature and the flow of a river. The flow of the oceans, the waves, the tides. And a lovely phrase of life, let's say, which is to go with the flow. To really allow the flow of life to take you wherever it is it's going to take you. We really are in much less control than we think. And when we appreciate that, when we accept that flow of life, tends to appreciate and accept that too. In a moment, I'm going to count from 5 to 1. And when I get to 1, I want you to just softly and slowly open your eyes. Bring your attention back to the room that you're in. 5, 4, 3, 2, and try not to rush off anywhere. Try not to rush your attention anywhere. You may have heard this vibrate, but I'm not interested just yet as to the source of that vibration. There is a tendency to respond immediately, but you don't have to. You can respond exactly when you want to. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Thank you so much for giving yourself some time to relax, to switch off. Hopefully you went on a bit of a journey with me. And if you've got any comments or questions, please feel free to write them in, and I can see if I can share them on the screen here. If that's your first time ever doing a session, please let us know. How did you get on? You really don't have to do mindfulness all the time, every day. You don't have to do these practices, because when we engage in mindfulness, we are engaging in that flow. And there's so many things we can do, so many ways that we can engage in flow. Mindfulness is one way that we can really bring our attention in, we can really concentrate. But you can do all sorts of different things and really immerse yourself, really give it everything you've got. There's a tendency for people to multitask. So for me, multitasking would be the opposite. It would be the opposite. In a conceptual manner. Of course, when you're in the thick of multitasking, you may be in flow, so you may experience flow. But to concentrate fully on one thing, on the thing that's in front of you, that's the juicy life right there. That's the juiciness of life. So no comments. So I see a few people still here. So thank you so much. There won't be a session next week. It's a bank holiday, so I'm afraid there won't be a session next week. But I will see you in 2 weeks' time, and look forward to leading you again on our mindfulness journey. Take care and have a lovely couple of weeks.